Well, good to see you again, my friend. It's been a little while. You've been still super busy. I want to talk about first of all. Let me just say it's a little. I haven't talked to you since then, but congrats again on the Grammy. I know that's been months down the road from when it happened, but
Oh, thank you. In
um,
fact, you're reminding me that we were supposed to speak, and then for some reason we never did.
you were
Sorry about
listen. You,
that.
you you know you're high in demand. I get it.
Oh my goodness. But thank you.
Um,
Yeah, that was a crazy moment. That was so cool.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
I was just so I was watching that. I never watched the Grammys, like ever. Just so over it. But I watched that special ceremony on YouTube while that was
Yeah.
going on, and it was very cool. It was exciting. It was like rooting for your team,
It was
winning the big game kind of
T-
thing.
it totally, and it was so funny being there, and like I really felt like because the guys didn't go for some reason, it got postponed, and then they moved it to Vegas, and so Rain and I were like, we'll just go to Vegas for a few days and attend the Grammys. It'll be fun. So the other guys didn't go. We were the only ones there, and it was funny because you hear like when they're announcing the different bands in the category, you hear all like the teams and the posse from the record label and the bands like when they mentioned
Right, the different names, yeah.
yeah, Gojira, and it's like Dream Theater. It's like me and Reina were like, yay. and then they and then he said the alien. I was like, oh my God. Like run up there and give the speech, and it
The
was
speech
just
was
a
great. I
whirlwind.
mean, did you
Thank you.
have like some kind of notes in mind or just in case kind of thing or
I had been, first of all, this is our third nomination. I didn't think we were going to win, but I'm a guy who likes to be prepared. So I did have something that was going through my mind the whole time I was sitting there. Like,
right.
because if by chance we win, I better know what to say.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
so I did have something in my head. Yeah. Unfortunately, all the words came out kind of like the way I wanted them to.
Yeah, it was great. It was perfect.
That was a big win for Prague that night.
It was
Yes,
great.
yes.
We're all really happy.
Awesome.
So Dream Theater just played a bunch of big shows overseas. From the pictures, they looked insane. I mean,
Yeah.
what was that like?
It was crazy. We played well, first of all, we went to Asia. We only played two shows over there. A big show in Indonesia outside outdoors in the middle of Java, the island there. Took us forever to get there. But it was just great event, outdoor show. And then we played the Download Festival in Japan in Tokyo, that was awesome. Um, it was a great collection of bands. It's different because it's an indoor festival.
Oh,
So in
okay.
some ways, yeah, it feels like just like a normal concert, but there's just tons of people. That went great. And then we just went to South America. We played Rock in Rio for the first time. That was a trip. That's a huge
How
audience.
many people was they? It looked crazy.
That's like 100,000
Yeah,
people.
that's
That
amazing.
we played after Iron Maiden, which was bizarre. It's like I get there, and actually Portnoy was there because he played with Metal Allegiance.
Right.
So I saw him. He's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And then like you just hear Maiden playing in the background. I'm thinking, I gotta play like after that. How's that gonna happen? Um, Huge stage, tons of people. It was, streamed and televised. And the next day, all my friends, Brazilian friends, were like, "Oh, our whole country is so proud of you guys." So it was
That's
a great
great.
moment. Yeah, and then a show in Sao Paulo we played before that, and then big show in Buenos Aires, and then a big show in Chile, another outdoor one. So yeah, it was great. Only four shows in 2 weeks, but great audiences down there. I mean, it's been like that forever, just
They love you guys over
they
there.
love the band. They're passionate about music. They're a great audience. They show up, in huge numbers down there. So it's really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, so is that the end of sort of the tours for the album, or you have some more
It's
stuff coming
not.
soon?
No, we have a lot more actually. Yeah. I mean, if you think about what we've done so far, we really haven't done much. We did Europe, we did US, and we just only those two shows in Asia and just four shows in South America. So we have a lot more to do.
Nice. All
We'll
right, cool.
start. Yeah, we'll announce soon, but we'll start in January.
Also, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, you sort of think like, okay, the album happened, the tours happened, but again, there's just I was looking, there's so many things to cover. You
Hmm.
put out a new video just like the other day for Temple of Circadia, this killer animation thing.
Yeah,
Um, Talk about that concept and putting that together.
sure. Yeah, I think it might weird people out that it's for a song on a record that came out 2 years ago.
You're right.
But it was sort of this long-term plan. Wayne, who does so much work, video work for Dream Theater and for me, had this idea of just doing this like animated epic Indiana Jones guitar adventure thing. We didn't really talk about the timeline. We've been talking about this for a long time. He's like, "Oh, this would be so cool." It's like I'll put in all these different like hints and Easter eggs and like it'll just be this adventure and it'll be crazy. I'm like, "Yeah, it sounds like a great idea." And it took a long time for him to do, but we had been talking over the last couple months, like when this is ready, like when should we put this out? Like it's so arbitrary. And then the idea behind, that I have the solo tour now, it made perfect sense.
Yeah, it makes total
So
sense, and it's a
yeah,
great,
so it's
great way
kind
to
of
do it.
bringing attention to the record, and we starting the conversation about me doing the solo tour. So the timing actually worked out pretty
Yeah.
good after all that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that transitions perfectly to the tour. I mean, Dream Theater fans and Petrucci fans couldn't be more excited for this. To have you and Mike and Dave hit the road to play some shows. It's been forever since you've done
Yeah.
this. Um, Talk about the plan of, when did you get the idea to do it?
Sure.
Trying to figure out scheduling, all that. I mean,
Yeah, that's the hard part. Well, the band's back together because Mike, and Dave were the original trio when I first started doing G3 tours back in
that's right.
2001.
Yep.
Yeah, when Joe asked me, and I was like, "Oh, I don't have any solo music, and what would my band be?" And then I started writing music for that and asked Mike and Dave to do it. So we played a bunch of trio shows on G3. So we're back together. Obviously, Mike and Dave both recorded on Terminal, so it's that same band that's on the record, that same trio playing live. I always wanted to do a solo tour at some point, especially now that I have two solo albums. I have enough material to fill
Totally. Yeah.
to fill a night. But it's always that thing, Roy. Like when do you do it? Like Dream Theater is either like we on tour or we're in the studio or there's something, and this type of thing takes you need at least like a half year in advance to plan and know you have that time and is everyone available. And I saw this pocket open up in the
Mhm.
fall a few months ago, and I was like immediately I was like on with my agent, hey, could we make this happen? So we started planning then several months ago. I asked Mike and Dave, they said yes. I promised Raina, because Mean Streak was, I know you want to talk about them, but that they were reuniting. I said, if I ever do a solo tour, I don't know when that's going to be, but you guys can open. And that worked out too.
That's cool. So you have a
So,
whole family affair going on.
yeah, man.
Everybody's bringing the wives, and
Yeah, a lot of
uh,
history there. Yeah.
it's pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah.
talking about Mean Streak while you brought him up. So we got your wife Raina and Marlene, Mike's wife, is playing. Bettina France is vocalist. I'm not
Hmm.
familiar with her. And then John Myung's wife, Martins, and a drummer by the name of Yael. So what's their whole history for people that aren't familiar? I mean, because they've been
Sure.
around. That's a band that's been together a long time.
Yeah, they said, yeah, when we first started dating, she was playing in Mean Streak. Raina was playing in Mean Streak with Marlene and John's wife. And like they gigged a lot. They're like a thrash metal, like sometimes they kind of have a Maiden vibe, all female band. Dream Theater actually opened for them a couple times, which I don't know if people know.
No, that's pretty. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
and they were in the scene, and they disbanded, you know, pretty pretty early on. I'm trying to think of when it was, but it's either late 90s or early I'm sorry, late 80s or early 90s. They disbanded. They put one album out called Roadkill. Um, anyway, yeah, they haven't played together in a really, really long time, and they decided to do a reunion, like I said. It's the same band, so it's going to be cool. And I know that Dream Theater fans know the history
Yeah.
that like three guys in Dream Theater married three women from Mean Streak, and who is Mean Streak, and we've never seen them, and we so this is kind of like a cool nostalgic moment as well for anybody that knows the history there. And of course, to me, it's almost more exciting than doing a solo tour. It's fun to be able to tour with my wife, and it's like,
Yeah.
you know, it's something we've talked about for. I mean, I've been touring Roy since '92,
Right.
and whenever I tour, have my suitcase and I say goodbye to my family, and now we're going together. It's cool. I think it's a really unique moment, and I think people are in for a treat. Not only because of the solo thing and me and Mike and Dave and that whole dynamic and energy, but just that Mean Streak's doing this with us. I think it's going to be
Yeah, I
really
think people will totally dig that and
yeah.
and be on board with instead of, you bringing some random opening band on. I mean,
Right.
which could have been cool too, but I mean, this
Yeah.
sort of has a really cool band tie-in, so
Yes.
it's really neat.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, the show's gonna be, I guess, just basically the first the two albums, right? I mean, are you
That's all I got.
that's what you're doing. You're not throwing any crazy stuff.
Not
Well,
really.
that stuff's crazy already. Let's
It,
let's
it
let's
it's more than crazy. I
yeah.
figure, listen, there's lots of things you can do when you put together an instrumental tour. I mean, you can do covers, you can have guests come up, you can do all. That's all fun. But I'm like, I have two solo albums. I've never done a solo tour in support of them. I'm going to pick from those two records. And, again, it'll be a little bit different experience for people coming to see us because it's a trio version of what's on the record. So the arrangement, the orchestration's not the same because I don't have no rhythm guitars and things like that.
Right.
And we'll take some of those things and stretch them out and do some jams and have it be something where there could be some improvisation from night to night. But yeah, the focus will be on songs from Suspended and Terminal for sure.
Yeah. I mean, when you announced the tour originally, it was like 3 dates. And there was
Right,
like there's
right.
going to be a few more. And I think the
Yeah.
anticipation was, yeah, they'll do like 5 or 6 more on top of the three. But you
Yeah.
you came out with like 30 dates or something and it just
It's
keeps
like
growing.
36
So
shows. It's like
it's
insane.
it's evolved into a big thing. I mean, that's going to be it's like Dream Theater scale, like
It's
North
even
America
more than
tour.
that. Well, with Dream Theater, I mean, we don't do as many shows per week in Dream Theater than this. This is like, for me, I guess it's because I've never done a John Petrucci tour. I've done many G3 tours, obviously with the solo stuff, but I'm finally doing one, and I'm like, I know how far and few between these pockets of a few months are to like get a tour booked and stuff. So I'm like, if I'm gonna do this, I told my agent, I'm like, book the crap out of it. Like, I want to
Right.
play as many shows as I can between October 1st and Thanksgiving. Just
Yeah.
fill me up. Yeah, I could play guitar every
And who
night. I
knows
don't
when it'll
care.
happen again, right? So just
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. That was
Yeah. Yeah.
my communication. So I guess my agent made good on it.
Have you started rehearsals yet, or is that
No,
soon? Or
not yet. We start in about a week or so, but I've been diligently practicing this material because it's very difficult. But it's also a lot of
and you
fun
got
to play.
Mike on a window where he's open, which is also rare. I mean,
It's also rare. That was the thing to me. I thought, if I'm going to do this, wouldn't it be great to have Mike and Dave that played on the record. Mike and I haven't done anything together on stage, in 12 years. Like I was
yeah,
just like fingers crossed that he could do it. And I know his first reaction was like, "Yeah, I'm totally into it. Let me see what I have going on." Like it's
right.
like,
It's
"Oh
always
man,
the
he's
schedule.
gonna
It's
have some winery dogs or something." And he came back right away. It's like, I'm open, man. Let's do it. So
That's awesome, man.
there you go.
So you got this to finish out the year, then more Dream Theater stuff coming down, and then I guess sometime next year, start work on a new record. Is
Yeah,
that the plan?
that's totally the plan. Yeah. So a bunch more Dream Theater touring, work on the record. I would say we probably won't be in the studio till this time next year, I would think, if you kind of think ahead.
Yeah.
And and people ask me this too with the solo stuff, like, of course, the first responses are, "Oh, this is great. Are you coming to
Right.
Brazil? Are you going to
So it's
Are you coming to Europe?" If there's a pocket where we're all free at some point next year, I would love to take this to Europe or something. But again, it's just difficult finding that period of
do
time.
you think you might film a show? You film one?
It could be fun. I didn't really think about that. You got a camera?
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah.
All right, cool.
What else is going on real quick? Anything else you want to plug? Any new bourbon, new guitars, any other stuff you got happening?
All that stuff is constantly happening. We came out with 2022 new finishes on my Majesty and JP15 guitar. They're just like so gorgeous, and I haven't seen them in my hands yet, but they're being delivered for this tour. So I'm going to be playing these new finishes on tour. I'm so excited about that.
Awesome.
They're just brilliant. We have some. We're going to do something special that you'll hear more about in celebration of Rock the Barrel 2, my bourbon. That's going to be so there'll be big news coming with that. One of the fun things for me is that along with the solo tour comes kind of like I don't know what you want to call it, my world, my little solo, my JP empire.
Right.
So the fun is kind of tying all these things together. And I immediately thought, like, how can there's so many cool things. It's like the bourbon thing, there's the beard oil thing, and I have this Neural app that just came out, and all the stuff
Right.
with
Yeah,
Ernie
that
Ball
too.
and Boogie. So this tour is like tying all this stuff together. There's a Neural competition that we started a few weeks ago, where I don't know if everybody saw that, but people submit themselves playing terminal velocity excerpts
Right.
on you know Instagram, and they'll win license to download the archetype Petrucci. We just did a contest with Temple of Circadia. If they could name all the Easter eggs in there, we're going to give out some cool stuff. Wayne had designed this great tour poster, and I'm like, that would just be awesome on a shirt. So we made this great shirt that's like animated. And by the way, Raina is a character in there. She's the Nebula Queen in there. So
Okay.
so that we have that prize to give away. So yeah, my tour will kind of tie in all the cool stuff that's going on in my
Awesome.
world. Yeah,
That's cool, man. Well, look, always great talking to you, and I'll see you in Orlando at
perfect,
the show in about a month. So hopefully we can
awesome,
say hi. And
absolutely.
man, I can't wait for that show. We're all so excited to see it. It's gonna be awesome.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun night.
All right, very cool, man. All right,
Awesome, buddy.
take it easy. Good to see you, and we'll
All
talk
right,
again soon.
all right, Roy. Take
All right,
care.
man. Bye.
Bye.